Barbara Arredondo was named D Magazine's top real estate agent in 2018 and 2019. Tonight, she's joining us to share how she's built a successful career based on courage, confidence, and her core values.
Hi, I'm Barbara Arredondo. I'm a residential real estate agent with Clay Staff & Company. I'm self-motivated, resourceful, insightful, a problem solver. I'm a creative thinker and action-oriented. My values are the A, B, C, and D: accountability, bravery, courage, and decisiveness. The real me shows up every day. I'm not fearless, but I have the courage to face the things that frighten me. I rise up to the occasion and take risks rather than sit comfortably where the fear wants me to remain. I hold the keys to my truth. It's an honor to serve my clients. Every person who hires me experiences a white glove service. It's highly likely their sale, purchase, or both will be the most expensive transaction of their life. Regardless of price point, the entire experience with me will feel like you have your own personal concierge. What are my peers not doing? I fill the void with launch parties, social shots, hiring specialized photographers nobody else is using, connecting through visual content, partnering with other agents, and leveraging their strengths. I want you to think of me when you're thinking about moving.
We're here with Barbara Arredondo, Dallas's top real estate agent. That's why we have the D Magazine here, because you were named the top real estate agent in 2018 and 2019. Right, Barbara?
Yes, I was, and I'm just so excited about it.
You literally blow me away.
Thank you.
Just in the conversations that we've already had, I am so inspired, and I can't wait for you guys to hear more about Barbara's story. So, Barbara, let's kind of start at the beginning, because you're so successful, you're so accomplished, but in the beginning, just like the rest of us, when we start off with something new, during that transition time, you had some things that you had to overcome. So will you kind of share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So before real estate, I worked for several different companies, but I moved to Dallas. So I'm from Houston, Texas, and then I moved to Dallas for a position at Texas Instruments. And I worked there for a bit and then transitioned over to Sprint. And so that's my background in technology. And every year they were laying people off.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, when am I going to get laid off? I'm sure it's going to happen.
I bet that was scary.
It was very scary.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to, when they were laying off, it would always be around Thanksgiving, worst time.
That's a horrible timing.
Yeah, because, people are looking forward to spending time with their family.
Right.
But instead, you're like, better not spend too much money because, holidays are rolling around.
Mm-hmm.
They're expecting gifts. I want to do the best for them, but I'm probably going to get a pink slip.
Oh my gosh, Barbara, that's horrible.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Oh my gosh.
Cutthroat.
So when you were having this experience and thinking about potentially losing your job, when did real estate come into your mind? Like, what first inspired you?
Well, just a lot. Well, really what first inspired me is before I came to Dallas. So I left Houston in '93. I was on a trip with 7 of my girlfriends in London, England.
That sounds fun.
It was a lot of fun. And so then I decided, God, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to travel. I'm always going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I'd go back home to Houston. I'd work, save some money, and then travel back to London and live there.
I love it.
And I did it. So I was there for 3 years. But when I was there, I was very poor. So
well, hey, it happens to the best of us.
So I was like, okay, where am I going to live?
Yeah.
So what I did, I decided, I don't know where the idea came from. I think when you're when you don't have a lot of money and you're trying to figure it out and you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you're like, what can I do to raise the funds so that I can stay where I'm at and live my dream for a little bit?
Right. Necessity breeds invention. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. And I don't know if it's like desperation.
That's
or
a good
something
motivator.
like that.
That'll get you going.
Oh, and it did.
You're like, okay.
It's like, I'm not used to
Gotta
like,
figure it
not
out.
having money. So
Right.
I was like, I'm not going to have, the money that I did take there, I knew that I was going to be there for quite a while. So I was, how do I still save my money, but get a job and try to make money somewhere else so that I can have this little pocket in case for, an emergency or something like that. So what I decided to do was put an ad in the Loot. I found a 5-bedroom flat, and I rented out the 4 other bedrooms, and then those bedrooms, they paid for my rent on my space. So
That's so
I got
smart.
that essentially free,
So
plus
smart.
a little bit more. So that's how I kind of live. But that's really, when I came back to the States, I just knew like this is something like it was like a little
that worked
bug.
for me back then, and the rest is history. Now you're in D Magazine. Can we show everybody the article, the piece on you, the beautiful photo? All right, and this is your beautiful photo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me about this shoot. Tell me about this day. How did you feel when you were taking this photo?
It's like I feel today. I'm just who I am, and I accept that, and I think that things are just so much easier when that happens, because that photo shoot was about 30 minutes. Before, yes, I was kind of a nervous wreck because it was a big deal. I knew that this magazine was going to come out, and I was going to have this ad, and it's like, bam, in your face. And like every time that happens, like this is exactly what your goal was for 2019.
It's kind of surreal, right?
Yeah, it's like just like lean into that fear and just do it. And I just do it.
And you just did it, and look at you go.
Yeah.
Would you say that empathy is one of your greatest strengths or tools that you use in your business?
Absolutely, but I also know with empathy, I have to watch it for myself, because, empathy can be,
I'm the same way.
It.
You can get a little too,
Yeah.
You should be balanced.
That's right. And so I started working with a business coach a few years ago. It's probably been about 4 years. Her name
love
is
this story.
Ginger Reed. Love her to death. And I knew that I didn't need a real estate coach. I didn't need a sales coach, because I know how to do that all day long. And I'm also very self-sufficient, so I don't need a boss to tell me to wake up at this time to get this done and here's your next action item. I know what to do. But I needed someone to help me get out of that emotional block that I was in, that I knew that I was in. And that's it's so good to listen to yourself. If you know that you need something and nothing else is working, and you've reached a level in your business to where you can't have free mentorship anymore.
Right.
A business coach will take you to the next level, because you pay them to tell you what you need, right, and what you don't need. And a lot of that, like all of that unsolicited advice, is something that you paid for. So they're going to be like very honest with you about what you need. So that was very helpful whenever I started working with a business coach to help me with that empathy.
So what were some of the things that you learned from her that you were like, okay, wow, this is really different, or this is changing the way I do things? Like, what were some of the best things that you learned from that experience?
Well, she has this saying where, like, you have code that you need to deinstall, and you have code that you need to install. And I understand that coming from software engineering, that whole development shop. I was like, oh, okay, I get that.
Like,
I
this makes
understand
sense to me, yeah.
I have code in my brain that I've installed over the years, and these are the things that I think of myself. And so her whole strategy with me was, let's work on the emotional part, because if there are things that I would say to myself, and I think we all do that.
We all do this, yes.
And so if you're not sharing those deep, horrible thoughts that you have about yourself with anyone, then they're just staying inside. And so then you start to believe those things, but you act in a different way, so people on the outside see you differently. Oh, you're so confident. You know, I just love how, like, you say it how it is, and you're always so well put together. But in the inside, you only know what you think of yourself.
Right.
So her thing with me was, let's write down everything or all of those things that you think about yourself.
This is such a good exercise.
It was.
We should all do this, but not easy, right?
It wasn't easy.
Sometimes you don't want to really go in there and, like, it's challenging.
Yeah, you don't want to admit some of the things that you actually think about yourself.
No, you don't.
And one thing I'll share is, I told her, and this to me is like really profound, so that's why I'll share this one. But I said, when I walk into a room, people don't see me. So I was like super, like, I was meek without really realizing that that was like the definition of what I was being. Or,
like, you didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah.
But it was like part of how you were presenting yourself. Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. Like, that was so weird. And then so like on one side of it, it was like, when I walk in a room, people don't see me. Like, I'm invisible.
Wow.
Yeah. And then on the other side, she was like picture two columns. On the other side of the column opposite that, she was like, what do people tell you about yourself when they see you? And I'm like, well, they're like so happy to see me, and they're, you know, they like what I'm wearing, or they're like, we're so happy you're here. And so she was like, okay, so from now on, all of these things on this left, this is the last time you're going to think of these things.
I love
and
it.
If they start to creep up, I want you to replace it with this on this right-hand column. And so I would just do the exercises like every single night. Like, people, when, you know, it would just, I'm like, people don't see me. In my head, I'm like, no, people see me when I walk in a room.
I love it.
And it just, after like 60 days, it really, really did transform everything.
Isn't that amazing how those negative thoughts that we have about ourselves, that could have come from anything, maybe someone said something to you when you were a child or at school or whatever it is, right? But like, somehow that negative thought gets lodged in your mind and in your belief system and buried beneath your awareness. And it's so interesting how that really does impact the way that you move in the world, the way that you speak, the opportunities you allow yourself to acknowledge. And I just think that's so amazing that you connected with someone that helped you to uncover them, and then you are like living proof that when you do own those things, let them go, replace them with positive, loving thoughts, that you truly can move past it.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it isn't easy, but I really do recommend that exercise to everyone. That doing that like propelled me. I mean, so that first year, so like 3 years after that, I mean, I doubled my income every year. And I truly, truly believe, like, I was still doing the things that I needed to do to get there, and I was always doing that.
Right.
But removing those negative thoughts about myself and replacing them with things that other people would say about me when they would tell me that, and things that how I wanted people to see me, it just did a world of difference. Now I still get nervous when I'm going to go into a room full of people, but before I go into that room, I always say, people see me, they know I'm here.
I love that.
Crazy.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And when I walk in, I'm like, yes.
And you feel it, and you own it. Yeah, you own the room. You're like embodying your energy, walking in feeling good. That's cool. I love it. I think that's a really good tip. You know, you also talked about the importance of taking initiative and planning ahead and staying on top of it, because, you know, just touching on prospecting and finding people, what other tools do you use, or what is your mindset around that? Like, how often do you follow up? Because you're also running the business day to day. So how do you balance that personally?
Well, again, it goes back to systems. I have a Monday through Saturday system, and I love, you know, the Apple iCalendar. I just create an event, and that event is reoccurring every single day, Monday through Saturday. And it'll show up the same, so they're theme days. I didn't make this up. There's like tons of coaching on it.
This is cool. Okay.
It's for everybody.
I need this. There's like theme days where you
Theme
can.
days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I can prospect every day, but in a different area.
Okay.
So for example, their past clients, that's one theme day. Anybody I meet is the second theme day. I save my builders for Friday, because they're busy Monday through Thursday, and a lot of times they won't answer their phone. But on Friday, they're like wanting to get, finish everything up
Right.
and then leave for home for the weekend. So I'll contact them on Fridays. And so if you, in any business, again, you can create your theme days. And how you know who you're going to contact is, let's say past client day. That's easy. I've got a lot of past clients. What I do is I just go down the list. So 1 through 10. So I make 10 calls every single day.
Wow.
And 2 thank you notes every single day. There's always somebody you can thank. You just have to do it.
There's always somebody you can thank.
There is. There's times where I've written a letter to Tom Thumb, cashier, because for whatever reason I couldn't think
Barbara,
of who to thank.
You are so wonderful. Oh my gosh. Like your gratitude and like open-heartedness just comes through like with everything that you do. I've never met anyone else in my entire life who said, write 2 thank you notes a day.
Yeah, 2 thank you notes a day. If you do that, you really do find the gratitude in those small things. And the way I make my calls, I'm always very to the point. And I tell this to the other agents that I work with. One thing I don't like is when I get a call and it's a friend or someone I've done business with in the past, and they call me and they ask me all these questions. How are you? How have things been doing? How is this? How is the conference? And how's your mom? All of those, talking points to begin with. And then at the very end of the call, they ask me for something or for the favor.
And you could probably feel it coming the whole time.
I could feel it coming the whole time. And sometimes I have been caught off guard with very, very good friends where that's happened. And nothing against them. It's just the approach. And knowing how that made me feel, my approach is different. I get right to the point. I'm like, hey girl, it's Monday. I'm making my calls. You're on my VIP list today. If you know anybody that's ready to buy or sell or lease, will you give me a call or let me know if it's okay if I can contact them if you send me their contact information? I get right to it. I know I'm like, I know you're at work. This is why I was calling today. I'm going to go ahead and let you go.
That's great. So you like save your gratitude and your catch-up moments for the gratitude and catch-up moments, and you save your business moments for, you're just transparent about it so that people always know, where they stand with you. And that feels more authentic just to even hear you talk about the way that you approach it.
Yeah, and I've never had anyone say that I know of, like, gosh, she's just calling me for business. But I say it up front, and I let them know, like, it's Monday. I'm making my calls today. You're a past client. It was so great doing business with you. It's been a couple months since we last talked. It depends, like where they are on my list, right? So, because there's 10 every day. So I'm like, if you have anyone that is ready to buy or sell, let me know. Be happy to help.
That's great.
And if they have time, then they'll ask me, like, so how are things going? How are the pups? How's JP? You guys do anything fun for the summer? So
that's cute. And then you can have the relationship.
Yeah.
So communication is key, right? It's so important. It's the way that we're able to get ideas back and forth and work together. And at the same time, when you're in the business world, sometimes people are not always communicating in a positive way, and especially in real estate, dealing with large sums of money and different personality types, just being the kind-hearted person that you are. What have you experienced, and what is your advice for other people who think the way that you do? How do you handle people when they're not kind, or it's not a comfortable fit as far as communication and reciprocity?
Ginger pointed that out to me and said, Barbara, it's okay to have empathy, but it's not okay to continue to have this sympathy that's sympathy is good to a point. It's like I don't like to let go of people and like give up.
Right.
But it's not.
I'm the same way.
It's not giving up. She helped me with that, to see that it's not giving up. It's just a point where maybe things are not good for you, and boundaries are very, very important. To establish in any relationship. So, I mean, even recently, I've had where people have been a little bit rude, or they kind of like try to insert little comments, that are not very nice.
I've experienced that as well. I think a lot of us
digs.
can relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very firm. I am a very firm person. A lot of people think because my voice sounds like I'm a little girl, or I'm
like,
shorter.
But like this, like no, I'm like listening. Like you have a sweet. Your demeanor is very kind, and it comes across. You read as really warm. So I can see why some people might mistake that for the kindness for weakness, but you're like
No, and I let them know, like, in a very, like, again, firm way. This is what I need from you. If you're not going to do that, then, and you're going to continue to talk to me in this way, then you and we're done with text. No more phone calls. Everything will be done in email, in writing. And pretty much when I say that, like, all of the attitude stops.
Wow.
Because they just know. Like, you don't get to talk to me in a way that I will not allow. And so now the way you're going to get to talk to me is just in email and writing. So
wow, I love that.
then they're like, oh, she means
like,
business.
okay,
Yeah.
I guess we're not gonna
Yeah, calm down.
not gonna be able to talk to her like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was that something that you developed over time with? I know that your coach probably helped you with that, but for other people out there who might be struggling with that, who have a hard time setting boundaries, what is your advice for them? Like, what would you tell them?
It just goes back to, I'd say, get a piece of paper and write down the things that you take with you. So when someone keeps asking you for something and you are the yes woman and you keep saying yes, how did that make you feel when you said yes to that, when you really did not want to commit to that, but you still did it? How did that make you feel? I mean, it could be one word, like, I just feel like the energy sucked out of me. Not one word, but
But right, like
energy
something
sucker.
simple, like I can't articulate it, but I just feel depleted, or
something like that. Those are the things that you just go back and look at that list. It doesn't have to be long. I mean, it can be long, but you can do 3 or 4 of them, and that pretty much is the same theme that comes up every time you allow someone to treat you in a way that brings up those feelings. And so then you know that next time you're put into that situation, that's where you yourself, if you're going to feel good, if you want to feel good, you got to find a way to say no, but in a nice way, right? Like, no, we're not going to. For me, I have to do it that way because in my position, I could be talking to another real estate agent, and we're already in a combative type. It's a setup, right? I work for the seller, they work for the buyer. We're both going to defend our people, and so sometimes those initial conversations, they don't go very well, and right off the bat they're like, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that, and we want this.
Feels like you're like in a mental boxing ring or something.
Exactly. And so for me, it's the profession is already like that. You already know that this is how it's going to be, pretty much.
That's great. And like as we saw in the video that we showed earlier, you talk about accountability as being one of your core values.
Yes.
So and I think that it's one of those things where it can feel like a scary word because like we don't want to mess up, but accountability is actually a really positive thing.
Yeah.
Will you talk to us about why that's so important to you that you express it as one of your core values?
Man, that is like the number one. And for me, because when someone trusts me with the buy, sell, or both of their home, it is the most expensive transaction that somebody will probably make in their entire lifetime. And some people get the honor of doing it 2 or 3 times or even more in investment properties. But sometimes some people, that this is it. This is
Right.
it for them. This is their $1 million home. And it could be 200,000. I don't care. Everyone gets treated the same. They get that white glove experience because it's a huge celebration.
It seems like, a key theme in your philosophy and just a common thread is, do the right thing, hold yourself accountable, and then the more good you're doing and the more good you're creating, the more will come back to you and the more you can also ask for from other people.
Yeah.
So it's like really that flow of energy and keeping it working and giving before you're getting. And it's really nice to see and to meet someone as lovely as you who is as successful as you are. I feel like you've worked so hard and built something, behind the scenes, and now it's like when you climb to the mountaintop, you get to like come back down and like share what you've learned, right?
Yeah.
Share the gifts, like, oh, there's a tree up there and there's this up there, And so it's like I feel like that's what you're doing, and I'm just so grateful that you came to B Zen TV to share your story and your wisdom, because this community, we want to grow and be better people as well, and it's really amazing to have a virtual mentor like you that we can watch and see your success and implement these tools that you're using. I mean, it's really cool. Ever since we first spoke, I've already started to use some of the mindset things that you told me just in our pre-interview. I was like, oh my gosh, like furiously writing everything down because I was like, wow, Barbara's so inspiring, like about self-confidence, and you're such a light, and that's such a beautiful gift to bring to people. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to meet you, and I'm just so happy to be here. I hope everyone gets something out of this interview.
I think they will. I know they will. This episode is brought to you by Madrid Media in partnership with 19 Production House. Affordable, high-quality brand production for entrepreneurs, small businesses, and influencers.
If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, real estate agent, broker, booking agent, chef, hairstylist, social media influencer, podcaster, you name it, and you need high-quality video production, photography, professional styling, reach out today. Stop filming yourself. That's what we're here for. Let us do it for you. Let us take you to the next level. Reach out today. We can begin to help you bridge that gap between where you are now and where you want to be.